In the world of public negotiations, and you got to understand, Dana White is a counterpuncher. He wins every single fight, all of them. But he will play by whatever rules you start with. Whatever rules, including extremely polite ones, including, sure, let's go to lunch, including, let's talk about this. He will play by whatever rules you set forth. But in this case with Jon Jones, Jon decided to set forth public rules of a public negotiation and public finger pointing. Okay, those are the rules then. And I got to tell you, just as a fighter myself, that's exactly how you do it. Every single day when I went into the gym to spar, it was the same policy. Whoever strikes first has now established the pace, and the next person must match that pace and not over it. That is now the pace of this round, and not all rounds are going to be the same. But whoever strikes first, that's now your pace. And that's what you're going to operate within. So Jon decided he wanted to do this public against a counter fighter who's never lost. So Jon made his move and made his claims and got the support system of his coaches and managers to back said claims. It wasn't the world's worst play. It just certainly wasn't the world's best. So in the vein of a public negotiation, Dana has now let the world know that Francis will fight with Derek Lewis next, and the winner of that will fight Stipe. So what that does in the world of public negotiations, it means Jon Jones gets to go sit and lift weights for another year in a best case scenario. And these were never the rules that this back and forth had to be contested under. It was never Dana's idea. It was Dana's sparring partner's idea. And Dana, like a gentleman, let him go first, let him set the tone. But now it's done. And I shared with you guys, but I'm pen pals. I talked with Stipe's old lady. She told me this same thing. I thought it was in confidence. So I never said anything. But now that it's out, it's exactly what Team Miocic is getting ready for. The reason they're getting ready for that is because somebody had told it, which just means it's official. In no scenario will Dana go back and pull the rug out on Derek Lewis. As much as some parts of us would really like to see Jon get the fight, now that we told Derek he's getting, well, for goodness sakes, we have a heart. Of course we give it to Derek. But now it's been revealed that the winner goes to Stipe, which in truth is what it always should have been. Now, I will hear an argument that Jon should be fighting Francis next and not Derek. Either way, Stipe should be fighting the winner. We did this to Stipe once. It was a scummy move. And as an industry, we all came out, pundits and fans and promoters and fighters and everybody alike, and we said, Stipe, we're sorry. We shouldn't have done that to you. We'll never do it to you again. And as soon as he falls down against Ngannou, in the second round, by the way, which represents an entire round longer than anyone else has ever made it with Francis Ngannou, we usher him out. Broadcast team says he's going to need a lot of time off. Based on what? Who were they to say that? Nobody talked about Stipe. Nobody talked about Stipe coming back, even though Stipe, who gave up 34 pounds on fight night, same excuse that Adesanya did the week before, except Adesanya gave up 8 pounds. Stipe went longer with Francis and took 6 punches more than the next best thing. If Stipe proved anything, he proved that he's the number one contender. We thought he was the champion when he walked out. Sure, when he left, we knew he was the number one contender, but we tried to sweep him. So, in all fairness, I do believe we're going to see Francis in there with Jon, in there with Derek, in there with Stipe. We don't know the order. But the one piece of the order that we knew should happen out of sensibility and integrity to the sport is that Stipe goes second. Stipe gets a little bit of time, get his head clear. He's now said for us he wants to put some weight on. He's not doing what Jon Jones is, which I'm going to put the weight on and everything has to be wonderful and I'll call you when I'm ready. He said, no, you guys go ahead and decide it. Give me one. Whenever the next one is, I'll have the weight on or I won't have it on, but I'll walk out there either way and I deserve the opportunity. And by the way, I would like the opportunity. Everything is right. Everything has been done right. I think there's room for Jon to come in this equation, number 3. But number 3 is going to be a year from now. And Jon's fights were getting remarkably close when he left against guys who never stopped and are no longer contenders. So we are going to have to suspend reality far enough to imagine that Jon Jones, without doing something, got better at it than his cohorts who are younger, in less lawsuits, and have less cocaine convictions, who never stopped. That's an amazing leap. But it's one we're willing to take. We give every single fighter who has removed himself and not showed us a deficit, whether it should be there or not, until he shows the deficit, we give them the same respect, which is benefit of the doubt. We're going to give that to Jon. Just sharing with you, when you look at this and you realize what has happened, Derek goes first, Stipe goes next. Who goes third, yet to be known, but that's next year's problem. It's next year's problem. And in the best case for Jon, that person will be Jon. But while you look at how this came about, and you look at how obvious this was, I'll remind you of one thing. Jon's sparring partner followed the rule. Jon's sparring partner let Jon go first. He let Jon say how we're going to do this. In this case, it was going to be done in public for us all to see. And that is what happened.